Now they posted on the 40 acres on campus grounds. We gather round, discussing goals and dreams and life's adventures. The Texas Longhorns, they the talk of the town. High castles of the 40 acres, where we dive deep into the game day stories. From touchdowns to heartbreakers, we discuss it all. Texas Longhorns glory. There we gather round each Thursday night, talking sports, it's so alright. From football to basketball, baseball to softball, Tim Wayne and Irish, we cover it all. Sports talk is our passion, our delight. Thursday night at 8:30, we unite. We discuss the scores, the plays, the teams who might. Let's dive into the game, let's ignite.
12 conference champions.
What's up? Good evening. We are sorry for being late. We were really trying to figure out what to discuss tonight because there's so much. We got action-packed show. This might be a long show, but we got so much to talk about. Listen, Texas came out. They showed out. They're here. They are ready, and we're ready to talk about them. Longhorn Fan Battle Podcast, of course. My name is Harish. This is my guy, Tim Wayne. Tim Wayne, what's up tonight, bro?
Yo, a little under the weather, but we here. We ready to talk Texas football and everything. Listen, like you said, Harish, we got a lot to cover. I know that sounds like that's like a redundant thing to say, but it's true. There's so much stuff to cover, especially within the week one. Even things are happening right now as we speak. With Xavier Worthy scoring his first touchdown, so shout out to him. As a pro, he looks good. The Chiefs look like they're rolling. I don't know how I feel about Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. They don't look too hot right now, but when you run up
right now, they're driving.
They're driving, but they haven't looked good the first.
They also have the greatest kicker of all time on their team.
They do.
He's going to get them at least 3 touchdowns worth of points.
Yeah, for sure. So we got a lot to talk about, man. It's a lot of things to cover in a short amount of time.
Before we talk about it, though, I got a quick question for you. Have you watched the entire game?
Which entire game?
This game right here, the Chiefs and Ravens.
I've been peeking in and out of it. Like I said, I've been.
Are you aware of the new illegal formation rules?
No, I'm not aware. Shine a light on it.
Apparently, and maybe I'm explaining this wrong. I don't know. I don't really know what I'm talking about. But when a guy is in motion, if the center is not if the tackles are not lined, their helmets are not lined up with the center, that is now an illegal formation in the NFL.
Oh, that is interesting.
There are 3 flags on the first Ravens drive because for the same thing, and they're watching it like a hawk. So they have to be lined up over the center. Like their helmet cannot pass the center when a player is in motion.
Okay. Usually it's a little staggered, When you're on the line, usually the person's head that's out the farthest is going to be the center, right? So it's usually the center. Like it usually kind of looks like this. It's not always lined up straight. You do that in middle school. When you start learning about pass concepts and blitz, learn how to pick up blitzes and stuff like that. Usually you learn and you see that your tackles are a little staggered. Now it's not a lot. It's not a lot to where it looks crazy, but I can just see it from because I've played football for so long. You can tell.
Sorry, it's the center's belt, not the helmet.
Wait, what?
Yeah. The tackles have to have their helmet, even with the center's belt. That's the new rule.
So basically, they have to move up.
Basically, clearly behind the center.
Yeah, they can't be.
Has to be even with the belt.
Yeah, because like I said, they're usually staggered a little bit, and usually the farthest people are the farther you are away from the center, the more staggered you tend to be. That's an interesting rule change. Now that one I don't remember us talking about or remember that going into effect, because we talked about quite a few rule changes as they happened over the spring when they had the NFL the owners meetings.
They literally just got flagged again for it. That's not 4 times in the game.
This is crazy. That's going to affect the game for sure. Getting negative yardage on stuff like that, of course, that kills momentum. You get a big play, and I don't necessarily know, because I don't have my TV on. I turn my TV off, but in the process of think about Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry needs to gain. He needs to run more, and the more he runs, the more momentum he picks up, and he's more devastating the more he runs. When you have stuff like that happening, and he gets out, he rips off a big run, but they end up calling that penalty. You just wasted a rushing attempt. And
he's out at his age, right? He doesn't have any more of those anymore.
And he has to go back and you'll either have to do it again, or now it puts you in a passing situation. So that's very interesting. And it's been called 4 times.
Yeah, 4 times. This is the 4. They literally just called it again 4 times.
That's crazy.
They're in Justin Tucker range, so I'm going to get one of the 2 field goals I need from the greatest kicker of all time.
Shout out to you. Boom.
Hey, fuck 'em horns, baby. All right. Let's pay the bills. Let's get started. We got so much to talk about. FanBattleSports.com, FanBattleSports.com, where you can get the latest and greatest on the Colts are going to be the Titans or the Texans this weekend. The Texans are going to lose to the Colts. The Titans who still eat mayo, and the who's the other team? The Jaguars who have a generational quarterback that's going to go 0-1. FanBattleSports.com.
Ooh, getting nasty.
Also, you can follow us because we're going to beat the snot out of Michigan this week. Follow us on Twitter at Longhorn Fan Battle. Shout out to all the Twitter guys out there. We're actually getting some really cool engagement for some Michigan fans, from some SEC fans. Shout out to all you guys. Also, I told you guys this before, and I'm going to tell you again. I don't care if you have 1 follower or 1,000 followers or 100,000 followers. If you say something stupid, and the goat just missed.
Listen, guys, I'm not the guy that's doing this. Look, I like to joke around. I like to joke around. If I'm gonna say something, I'm gonna let you know 9 times out of 10 I'm gonna tag myself. There was a video that I put up earlier that I did get a lot of engagement from. That's from the gentleman that said that Texas was gonna lose to Michigan and that Michigan would roll Texas. That was a hot take. I literally have not heard any Michigan people talk like that except this guy. So shout out to him for being a little delusional. And that's not a shot. I just don't think that the game is gonna, regardless, and we'll talk about this at a later date, a later time. But I just don't see Texas getting rolled by Michigan. I don't see Texas rolling Michigan.
We're gonna talk about that in a little bit. That video.
We'll talk about it.
He is actually live right now. I'm gonna go back and catch the space, but yeah, we as Justin Tucker just missed a field goal.
He missed a field goal.
He missed a field goal from 50.
What?
Yeah, I know. It went left. I think somebody blew a fan on the field or something, because it literally just went left.
Justin Tucker doesn't miss field goals. That's one thing that Justin Tucker does not do. Honestly, I would not be shocked if that's the only field goal that he misses this year.
Oh yeah, he's probably gonna kick 4 more today, because the Ravens aren't moving the ball at all. They're barely moving the ball. I mean, as many illegal formations as they get, they probably need it. So, but yeah, follow us on Twitter. Yes, it is me. I am me. I am you. I will dust you, and I don't care. Say something stupid, I will come after you.
And listen, he doesn't give up. That's not a thing.
And I will not give up. I might be wrong, but I'm keeping my narrative, baby. I'm keeping.
Yeah,
I run with narratives, or I'll drive him into the ground.
that
And
is
then when I
not
stop responding because I'm bored,
that is not
I'm gonna go.
something that Reese does.
Yeah,
He
I'll
will
find
go
somebody else.
at you and he
That,
will continue to go at you, and that's just what he does. So,
yep.
me, like I said, guys,
That's
I
been
tweet
fun.
on the other side.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been a good time. All right, follow us on YouTube. Wait, if you're watching this right now, like, comment, subscribe. We are just over 50 followers. We're on the road to 100. We're small in the YouTube space, but we're a little bit big. We're getting a little bit bigger on the Twitter space. You just follow us on Twitter. And then also, of course, follow us on TikTok. I just found the biggest oopsies on TikTok. I've been posting videos. I'm like, bro, we're not getting any views. You and I talked about that. I will fix that. My bad. I did not know that.
Oh, shout out to the people who viewed our content yesterday. Y'all had our
Wow, that was
TikTok
awesome.
yesterday.
I
Jonah
actually
Williams.
was-
Jonah Williams had a good game. He had 5 touchdowns where he played 3 different positions: wide receiver, running back, and free safety. So shout out to him. Oh, you didn't know that? You didn't watch that?
No. Patrick, I did watch it, but Patrick Mahomes just threw a pick.
Oh
literally right to Roquan Smith. I'm sorry. I'll start giving game updates. He literally stared him down like he was a receiver.
Jesus.
But
Patrick Mahomes can do that. He'll make it.
I did. So Jonah Williams, and he didn't do that against nobody. He did that against Manville. If you guys know Manville is a good East Houston school. Like they are. Yeah. That is not. So my wife's cousin, kids go to Manville, and she said their football team is so big that they have seniors playing JV.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned that. This is the second time where I've heard a Houston school being so big and having so many kids on their team to where they have to have a JV and an actual varsity team where the varsity kids or the upperclassmen are playing JV football.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Listen, I went to Lanier High School. We had 1,000 kids when we started. We ended up with 327 graduating. So, hey, we defied odds. We defied the odds here.
That cannot be the only school out there that has that same issue. Where the teachers the school is so big that they have to put seniors on JV.
Dude, think about those big giant football teams out there in East Texas. Think about Bernie. Think about
Bernie. Really? Bernie's that big? I mean, I've been out to Bernie. I didn't realize it was that big though.
Bernie has a very large school. Bernie, really? Lufkin, Nacogdoches, those teams, even though they're smaller, they might be smaller in division, but they're the only schools out there in that area. You know what I'm saying?
When I was a freshman, just a little story time. When I was a freshman at Conley High School the last time, there was a time where Conley High School was good at sports, guys. We were in the state semifinals against Lufkin. Bro, I will never forget this play ever in my life. Quarterback throws it all the way to the wide receiver, Hail Marys it basically.
Okay.
The wide receiver gets pass interference with as he's catching the ball in the end zone to win the game and doesn't get called. Lufkin, they did it because Lufkin was undefeated that year. They went on to win state.
Oh wow.
The state semifinals. I'll never root for Lufkin in my life. I hope they go 0-12 every year, 0-10, whatever they do every year. I hope they get negative yards every play they get. I've never rooted for them.
Lufkin, I see, Lufkin, man, listen, Lufkin has been.
They got some big boys down there. They had some big boys down there.
Javorsky Lane,
yep.
He went to Lufkin. Reggie McNeil, quarterback for A&M. I want to say it's Reggie McNeil.
A lot of those kids go to A&M.
Javorsky Lane's son recently decommitted from A&M.
Well, yeah. Did you see what happened on Saturday? He was like, I don't want nothing, no part of that.
Hey man, that's what
I don't want no part of their quarterback going for 9 for 30 at home. No, sir. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Anyway, they run into some problems, and we're gonna talk about that when we recap was week 1.
Let's start off with the dubs.
Yeah, we're gonna start off with the dub. Listen, I want to let you go first because there's some things that I looked that I saw that I really really liked, and there's some
So
things that I like, and there's some things that I want to see more of.
yeah.
And
So real quick, Texas 52, Colorado State nothing. Listen, if you're a Texas fan over the last 15 years, this score is unheard of for Texas. You're always looking like, man, they did this and man, they did that. There are three things that stuck out to me like immediately.
right,
Number one, there's a lot of speed on this team, and Steve Sarkisian wasn't kidding.
right,
Number two, every wide receiver on this team could play.
everybody.
And he wasn't kidding about that either. I think the third thing that was very interesting to me was the linebacker play. It was phenomenal. And it goes back to the speed, right? Of course, we know Anthony Hill. Talk about the turnaround David Benda has had since Steve started. Like when Herman was here, he was unplayable.
Yeah.
And he's flying around tackling just Jalen Milroe. He flew around. He had a great tackle against the running back this week. The other thing that really stuck out to me, I know I said three, but I think the last one kind of goes hand in hand. The passing defense was stellar.
Yep.
Everything from being able to shut down Torrey Horton, which I did not expect. Their quarterback struggled all night long. I did not expect. And look, it's Colorado State at the end of the day. I understand that. But this Colorado State team was a top 5 offense last year. They averaged 400 yards a game.
I think people fail to realize that, and they just look at the fact that it was Colorado State.
Yeah. 400 yards a game. And Torrey Horton is he was one of the best wide receivers in college football last year. We talked about it in our previous year. We're like, hey, you might give up some, but you got to contain him. And not only did they contain him,
they shut him down. He was a non-factor.
Down. He had at one point, what did he have? Like maybe 13 yards receiving. Let me see. He had something crazy.
He had quite a few
yards receiving for Torrey Horton.
Yeah.
On 5 catches, and I don't know how many targets, but they blanketed the hell out of him. And shout out to this secondary. I thought the secondary was phenomenal. And I think the running back got 100 yards. People fail to realize we stopped the first string defense stopped playing at halftime. They actually came out before the first string offense.
Right.
And so I think, they gave up 118 rushing yards, but I think a lot of that was garbage time. The game was out of hand. The first team defense came out. I don't think that's a true indication of what we're going to see this week. But I think those are the three things I saw. Speed. Speed. The tackling was phenomenal.
Yep.
And the pass defense was excellent. And this team looks like a national championship team.
Yes,
and I'm going to hot take this. I think this team is better than last year's team already. Through one game, I think it's already better. Like if we look at overall team, I think this team is already better than last year's team.
Yeah. No. Listen, I to piggyback on what you were saying. Listen, the way I explained it last week is that I just want to see mistake-free football. Now, there are some things that did happen. You got to take care of the football. You can't be fumbling twice. Can't do that.
Nope.
Do that. Silas Bolden, I think, that was just a one-off. He drops the ball. I believe he was on a punt. He catches or tries to catch the ball. It just kind of goes through his hands.
Yep.
Cool. So you want to you want, especially in a place like Michigan where the crowd is 102,000 people in there.
Really loud.
Yep. It is really, really loud. So just eliminate those small mistakes. And I think other than that, they played a relatively perfect game. Not too many penalties, nothing that I would say is detrimental. What I did like seeing what Quinn and Ryan Wingo developed. Whatever they were doing, whatever they did over the spring with these wide receivers, you could tell. You could tell that Quinn, like
I'm feeling so.
Quinn was out there. Quinn was out there letting it go. Now, was he doing the
Yes.
same? Was he doing it like Arch? Not so much, because Arch was in there throwing cannons. But like,
Are you sure though? Look,
Arch
Quinn was in there throwing no look passes, bro.
he did throw a no look pass, which was dope. Don't do that in Michigan. Don't do that in Michigan. Don't do that. Just get the ball to the person. Get it in the zone.
Okay, whoa. Come on, man. This is year 3 Quinn. We can't be
It's a
hating
year three-
on
it's a
QB1, bro.
I'm not hating. Listen, it's
He's
a year
throwing no look passes.
It's a year 3. It's a year 3. Quinn. You still don't want to do that in Michigan. I'm gonna say the level of competition is going to be ramped up severely. Not
You
saying
think
that.
so? We'll talk about this in our preview. I don't think so, and I have a whole list of reasons as to why.
From a defensive standpoint, I think that you're going to have a level of defensive. You're going to have better athletes at defense for Michigan. Not saying that Colorado State is trash. Again, we know what they did last year. They went toe to toe with a lot of people. A lot of people didn't realize it. You kind of saw it with the Colorado versus Colorado State. I mean, it got a little chippy, but you were able to see that they were able to hang, and that was a really good game. Outside of the few knucklehead plays that Colorado State gave off, like they looked relatively good. But I like the way the receivers looked. The one guy that stands out to me is Ryan Wingo. Ryan Wingo looks like a goddamn stud. I'm not gonna lie to you. This dude looks like he is ready to take over. And mind you, there was Ryan Wingo that got catches, Isaiah Bond got catches, Dante Cook, Matthew Bolton, Gunnar Helm.
Everybody got a little bit of everything, right?
Like Amari Nyblack. Now listen, I want to see Amari Nyblack get a little bit more love now. I want to see that, but it's definitely a thing. Ryan Nibbley, he got some, he got a little love in there. Not as much as others, but there were literally 10 people right there that touched the ball. So the fact that he was able to spread the ball out to other guys is crazy. I don't know how teams are going to prepare for that in the end. The
11 different receivers had a catch.
11.
That's insane.
11, that's insane.
At the college level, that's insane.
That means he is this is what this means. When I think of that and when that stat comes up, when you give me that stat, it makes me believe that Quinn is reading the defense. It's not going to his favorite target. It's going to whoever is open. The play where what was that, Golden that caught the touchdown? Like that was
in the end zone where he throws the out route.
He throws the out route and put it on his outside shoulder.
That was so sexy.
Where the defensive back couldn't get it. That was so sexy. That was an amazing pass.
You know what he needed to make that happen?
Timing.
Zip.
Well, that too. Yeah. Again, I like what I saw. I like what I saw. Again, let's negate the fumbles. It's the first game. People get the case of the yips. Again, I don't remember seeing anything like remotely terrible from a offensive line perspective. Defense played fantastic. They were able, they didn't get any sacks, but they were able to get the pressures.
Yes.
They were able to get the QB hits. That's a thing. Like, just because a QB doesn't get sacked doesn't mean he doesn't get hit. Getting hit is just as effective as sacking a quarterback. So that's a thing. I'm just excited to see what else they have because they didn't open their playbook. This is a very vanilla game. They did not do much on offense.
Zero
deep shots. I'm excited to see what they do.
That's awesome. Here's the thing: when your offense can put up And I don't think there are any defensive touchdowns. I think it's all offense, right? Their offense put up 50 points and they ran 0 deep routes. Like that tells you how good this Texas offense is. And Manning only threw 6 passes. So the other 20 was all Quinn.
Right.
And he looked very good. Look, here's the thing. Quinn was throwing everything. You talked earlier about how he was reading the defense. You could see him multiple times looking through his progressions.
Mm-hmm.
He was going 3, 4, sometimes and 5 out wide. He was looking 5 deep at his progressions and coming back. That's 2 things. That's Quinn. He's growing as a quarterback, right? Number 2, the protection that he has is insane. Now, is he going to have that type of protection this week? I think there'll be opportunity. I don't think he's going to be like, pressure 50% of the time. I think he's going to have some opportunities to have that same type of protection. Right. Especially from the left side of this offensive line, who had a couple of hiccups, right? There were some snap infractions. They're a little bit like, false starts.
Nothing detrimental.
Right? No holding penalties, no sacks.
That's what we don't want. We don't want no holding penalties. We don't want no sacks. You jump off sides, okay. It wasn't a big deal. It wasn't like a situation. Even from a pro standpoint, like I said, you continue to jump off sides or you have some type of line infraction, that kills momentum. Like I could see why, I know they scored recently, but I could see why the Ravens are having a hard time scoring. They got to get in a rhythm, and lining up wrong is not going to be the best point or the best thing for your offense. So as long as they're not doing that, I'm cool. I'm okay with it.
Yeah. He ends up with I think it was like a 181 QB rating.
Mm-hmm.
At one point he was at a 231.
Oh, okay.
Is like at the NFL level is insane. Like 231. I think like the NFL average is maybe like 170, 160, something like that. So he was above average. Like at the NFL level, he was above average.
That's good. That's really good. That means he's completing passes. Yeah. They're not being dropped either.
Matthew Golden. I think Matthew Golden's going to be. It looks like he's going to be the red zone beast.
Yes.
He's like a walking touchdown in the red zone right now.
Yeah,
he has 2 of them. He has 2 of the 5 touchdowns in the red zone.
Right.
I think overall the defense looks solid. They didn't get any sacks. I'm very curious. I have a question for you as a defensive lineman because you're on the defensive line.
Yep.
Was your coach, right? The defensive coordinator, defensive line coach, right? Would he pride you more on consistent pressure or finishing the job and getting the sacks?
Getting the consistent pressure. And the reason why I say getting the consistent pressure means that quarterback can't get in the rhythm. Listen, well, my defensive coordinator, Gary McAfee, who was a defensive lineman for the Seattle Seahawks back in the 90s, would tell you, hey, I need you to get constant pressure on this guy. I need you to make him uncomfortable. I don't want him sitting in the backfield all day, being able to throw and do whatever he wants to do. I need you guys to get some pressure up on him, either up the middle or around or coming from a tackle's point of view. If you can get more pressure coming up the middle, that was more of his thing. He was like, I want pressure up the middle. He was a former defensive tackle. So he prided getting defense or getting pressure from up the middle, because then it makes it hard for him to throw. Especially, we know I don't want to butcher that kid's name. He's a taller quarterback, but most quarterbacks, in college, a lot of them are not your prototypical 6'5" quarterback. You might run into a quarterback that's 6'1", 6'2". Your tackles are 6'7", 6'8", 6'3". Those are the bigger guys. So if you can get that pressure up the middle and make it harder for your quarterback to dump it, then he'll take that all day versus a sack.
Right.
He can't do anything. He can't throw.
That is what I was thinking. So Texas doesn't get any sacks. I need to go back and find it. I'm very tempted, Tim, to get a PFF account because as much
Uh-huh.
as I hate PFF, there is like a set of statistics that are so easy to find on there. I don't like the grades on PFF, but I
Yeah,
do like some of the like the internal stats you can get from there.
right.
Like pressure rate is something I'm very interested in for this team. I'm
Mhm.
very curious to know what the pressure rate is for this team. So I think I might look into getting us a PFF account because I'm just curious, especially as we go along, and I'd like to see the progression and regression. The other thing that was really hard to find, I had to rely on Nash. Shout out to Nash. Uh, Texas only missed 3 tackles this week.
That is unheard of.
That is a 91% tackling success rate. So
Uh,
49 out of 52 potential tackles. They missed 3 tackles all week.
yeah,
All game.
Jalen Gillibrew,
Yep. Gilbo
Gilbo,
missed one. Yep.
Gilbo. I'm sorry, he is from Louisiana. Gilbo, and Beau is his the last name. Okay, but he had a game. He had
It was
quite a
very good.
few. He had quite a few solo tackles. He was
Yep.
in on a lot of tackles. Anthony Hill also showed out. One guy that you mentioned, and we can move on from this, but one guy that you mentioned, uh, and that was our what's the linebacker?
David Benda?
Binda.
Yeah.
Binda looked crazy.
So fast, dude.
You know who Binda looked like? He looked like this the Marvion Overshow. He looked
Yes.
he
He
looked like
looks
a
like a faster
74.
than Marvion Overshown. Like I legit think he's faster than him. Like
He looked
I would not be surprised if he ran like a 4.6, 4.7.
he looked fast. He looked healthy.
Yeah.
He looked eager to hit. There was multiple times where he was in the backfield. So shout out to those guys. Shout out to the defensive tackle. I mean, the shout out to the defensive tackles. I know a lot of those guys didn't get to stay in for the majority of the game because the beginning of the third quarter, once Texas scores again, they exit out that first team and put in the second team. So yeah, shout out to them. I really appreciate the secondary keeping the pressure and wanting to keep that scoreboard a 0. It's a thing in football. Once you get to a situation where the second team comes in, it's always the I usually, and I only say this because I know for a fact, like the defenses that I play for, whether it be high school, semi-pro, whatever, they if we were putting up a goose egg, made it we made it very known to our other cohorts that we were playing with, especially during a game. Hey, if you got a goose egg up here and we leave, we leave, we have to go. We go sit down and you guys are up next. You guys need to take the same pride to keep that goose egg alive.
Yeah. And they did.
No field goals, no
Uh,
touchdowns, no nothing.
uh,
The
who
defensive
was
backs.
it at the end? They got the interception. Oh shoot. It was a freshman, I believe.
Geez, what is his name?
Oh my gosh. I literally just
Uh,
blanked on his name.
Me too. Geez.
Um
Uh,
what am I doing?
Why?
Interception. Word on that.
What on me? What on
By the
me?
way, 3-star,
What on me?
for all you fans, 3-star cornerback. Word on that. His
Word on
first
that.
game, interception. Just seal the shutout.
Word on Mac looks good, man. He was out there running around Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He was a big get because he was on his way to LSU from what I remember, and we were able to get him. So shout out to him. It just goes to show the type of depth we have. Oh my god, the amount of depth that we have is insane. We had running backs getting over 50 yards. We had 3 running backs getting over 50 yards. What do you think about the run game? What were your takeaways from the run game? It looked like the run game never really lost focus as far as like they didn't get away from it. because they rushed over 30 times. They rushed over 30 times. It wasn't really any real big, breakaway situations, but that's cool. I understand it wasn't a bunch of big runaway situations. Jared Gibson had 10 carries. He had 67 yards. His longest one was 22. Jaden Blue had 11 carries for 57. Isaiah Bond had a rush for 25. So they were
end around, right?
yeah. So they were getting the ball to these guys in multifaceted ways. I saw different formations again, nothing crazy, no super crazy formations, but they were able to get the ball into these guys' hands multiple times and get them into the end zone.
This might be a little bit of a hot take.
Okay.
I think they should try to use Jared Gibson as the CJ Baxter of this team. Like if you look at it, right?
He ran hard.
The way Jared Gibson, and I've been a Jared Gibson guy for a little while, right? And I told you about this.
He runs hard. When
you talk, I think this week, 4th and 2, 3rd and 2, 2nd and 3, 4th and 1. I think those are Jared Gibson type opportunities this week.
Yeah.
I think he should short down, big, put a bunch of linemen in front of him and make him go get those yards.
Yeah.
Jared Gibson is the guy that's going to get those short yardage plays for you. You just got to give him the opportunity. And I think he's ready. This guy's not afraid of nothing. No. And I really like the way he runs. I really like the way, his mindset when he runs. There's just something about this guy I really like. He's big. He moves his feet. He can get low. He can go in between the tackles. Yep. He can go around the tackles. He's got the speed. Man, I think Jaden Blue and Jared Gibson can be your 1-2 punch. And Trey Wisner, shout out to him. I think he is a better
receiving back.
He's a better version of what the running back we had last year was. The guy that went out. I just blanked on his name too. Oh my gosh. What am I forgetting his name for? Hold on. I have to go look it up because I'm a dummy. And now I won't be able to get it out of my head. Let's see. 2023 halfbacks, his name. My gosh. Not Savion Red. Not JT. Where is he? Oh, Keelan Robinson. He is a better Keelan Robinson to me.
Oh, wow. Keelan. Yeah, dude. Shout, man.
Yeah, he is a better Keelan Robinson to me. Yeah, like I said, everything about this team, also having Trey Wisner and Jaden Blue just adds to the amount of speed this team has. And when Isaiah Bond is out there running routes with his helmet getting knocked off and readjusting his helmet midair and still being able to catch a ball and cook it,
that was insane.
He literally gets knocked off. His mouthpiece gets knocked off. He readjusts his helmet, and he hooks the DB on this double, corner route, and he catches the football.
I've never seen
it right on the money.
I didn't really understand what was happening until they slowed it down because it happened so quick. He goes in, like you said, he gets bumped, he loses a mouth guard. Next thing you know, he's readjusting his helmet mid-route, and then he gets that touchdown. Yeah, man.
She got some talent on this team.
Super talented. This team is super deep. And shout out to the defense for only allowing
250 yards total yards last week.
Yep.
No, not even 192. Didn't even hit 200 total yards.
Yeah,
74 passing yards.
That's crazy.
They threw the ball 24 times and they only completed 13 times.
13,
and they averaged 3 yards per throw.
Yeah, shout out to them, man. They looked good.
Overall great performance. obviously we will recap the big house, the matchup in the big house. I want to get to that, but I want to kind of get to these other topics first because I think the preview should be the last thing we talk about.
Yeah, we could go through those real quick.
I kind of switched the topics up a little bit on us while we were talking. So let's go around the country. What stuck out to you? What didn't? And who was impressive? Who wasn't? We'll start there.
I will say who was impressive. And this is gonna be somewhat of a hot take. Clemson's defensive line was impressive.
Yes,
Their offensive play calling was absolutely terrible and atrocious, and you can't expect the defense to continue to shut out one of the best offenses and one of the best teams in college football for more than one half. They gave all they could in one half. Dabo did not put any points on the board. That's not anybody else's fault. That's Dabo's fault. And I could not. Listen. The way that the ACC is going, Clemson can still win it. I mean, we know Florida State is out of it for sure. Clemson can still do it with their defense. Of course, we already know they're not going to be putting up a lot of points. That's just not happening. I still think that they can do it. They got some other big games. But if their defensive line is consistent like they were in that first half throughout a whole game, they're asking like they were really put on display. Either their defensive line is really that good, or Georgia's offense ain't that great. And I think it's a mixture of no, just the offense in general, because they weren't really putting up points in that first half. They didn't really put on the points until the second half.
I think there's a combination of the both.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think it's a combination of, that defensive line being that good and then that offense not being that great. Now, what we do know is that offensive line or that offense is going to get better as they continue to play. So I'm not right.
That Georgia or Clemson?
No, Georgia.
Oh, okay. I was going to say I have zero faith in Clemson's offense.
They didn't even have their best player on the field last week. They didn't have ETN.
That's what's scary. I think Georgia's offense will be fine. I will tell you, just based off the take that you told me, Miami's running away with the ACC. I don't think there's a team in the ACC that's going to beat them, and I don't think Clemson is good enough to beat them either. Again, it's overreactions. It's week one, but Cam Ward might eventually start throwing passes with his eyes closed the way he was playing in Florida last week. Like he was playing like he was playing in like college football 25.
They played a terrible Florida team. Again, I said it last week. I don't think Billy Napier makes it through the season. With the news came out today. Late yesterday that DJ Lagway is going to be playing. He's starting.
Yep. He will start.
This is
he should have started last week.
This is Billy Napier's last hurrah. I don't think that you win with that other quarterback. I'm sorry, it's nothing against that quarterback. I just think that you got to get the generational talent, and we know what DJ Lagway can do because we've seen it. He looked phenomenal in camp. He looked phenomenal before. He was doing crazy stuff in high school. So that's why you get a DJ Lagway. You don't get a DJ Lagway to put him there and put him on the bench so he can learn. This is a situation where you need to save your job and you need to get the best players on the field. So if that means ripping off red shirts to get those guys to be competitive, that's what you got to do.
That's what you got to do. Hey, I agree. Billy Napier, he's got nothing else to lose because the guy's not going to be there much longer.
No.
And what was the red shirt? It's not his problem anymore.
I thought it was going to be a good hire. I really thought Billy Napier was going to be a good hire for Florida because Florida it's not that they don't lack talent, because what they did with your quarterback, well, what's his name? I'm drawing blank.
Anthony Richardson.
They were formidable. Now, did they win a bunch of games?
They won like 8 or they won like what? Oh, well, here's the thing about Anthony Richardson, right? He didn't even then they didn't put him in until too late. Like he only played one real season.
It was too late. By the time he got on the
They
field,
should have started him as a freshman when he was a freshman. He only
right.
played really his junior year, and he
Yeah.
listen. I love my Colts. I really do. Anthony Richardson is a Colt for two reasons. Chris Ballard is an idiot, and he won that last game, so we couldn't get CJ Stroud. And Anthony Richardson was a project that could pan out because he's just a freak of nature.
Yeah,
Right?
he's massive. He's a massive guy. He can throw the football. That's one thing we know he can do. He can throw the football. Now, if he can just take care of himself and not get injured and get beat up, perfectly fine. He'll be fine. But again, they got the same. They got the same. They are getting the QB talent. It's not like they don't have the guys that can't throw. They got them. They're getting.
Yeah.
Not listen. If what's the quarterback's name again? I don't know why I'm drawing a blank.
DJ Lagway?
No, not Lagway. The Colts quarterback.
Anthony Richardson?
If Anthony Richardson is at anywhere else, he's there.
He might have been the number one pick.
He's a playoff quarterback.
Yeah.
If he's on any other team, listen, LSU, Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama,
Michigan, like
straight up playoff quarterback.
Texas, imagine Steve Sarkisian with the guy that's 6'6", 250.
You get a guy like DJ Lagway who can run, who can throw. All you got to do is just put him out there. Listen, I know. Listen, first off, we know that Miami versus Florida, that's a rivalry game. That game's usually played at the end of the season. That game is usually
that was weird too.
So was that very weird? Yes, it was. They didn't get the warm-up game like they normally get. I don't know who Florida plays this week, but you can't go out there and lay that big of a dud. You just can't do it. Same thing with Clemson. You can't go out there and talk trash about the transfer portal and how you don't want to utilize the transfer portal, how you can utilize kids from high school, and all. That's all great. But these guys are reeing up with people in depth, with depth, and they're getting players that are ready to go immediately. When you do that, that puts you at a disadvantage because you got a young team out there. They don't necessarily may not know what they're doing. You only got so much time to work with these kids, because of NCAA ruling. So you can't do that. You have to utilize the transfer portal. Again, I don't want to spend too much time on it. What I did, like Dylan Gabriel, I'm not impressed. I'm just going to be completely honest.
That offense was pathetic.
I did not.
That offense was so bad. Here's the thing.
From an Oregon standpoint, that is not Oregon football. That is not the Oregon football that we saw last year. That is not the Oregon football we saw with Josh Herbert. That is not Oregon football. That, I don't know what that was. You know what that reminded me of? That looked like old school Texas Tech, dinking and dunking all the way down the field. Now, granted, they won.
But here's the thing, though. Isn't that what Bo Nix did most of last year was dinking and dunking? He threw a lot, and they were trying to do that, and they couldn't. Listen, this Oregon team, from a skill position standpoint, has more talent on this team than they did last year.
They probably had more.
Not moving the ball.
They probably have more talent.
Actually, they did move the ball
than they have had in like maybe the last 10 years. They are stacked at wide receiver.
Yep.
They are stacked. And they did not, to me, and listen, I mess with Oregon. You know how I have my personal vendetta against Oregon. When it comes to going up there, those kids going up from Texas to Oregon, if that's going to be the way that offense is going to run, I don't see kids sticking around for that.
Nah.
Does winning cure everything? Absolutely. So right now it's fine because they won. But I don't think they're not going to be able to win the Big Ten like that.
Yeah, for sure. No, I agree. Well, actually, you know what? The way the Big Ten plays, they probably might. Yeah, we'll see what happens with Oregon. I think they have. I was trying to look to see who they had. They had. this week. So they dropped all the way to 7, which actually was in line with where you had them, right? Where did you rank them? You ranked them at 7?
Yes, I believe so.
That's
Let me
exactly
go.
where they dropped to. So they play Boise State this week. That's going to be a very interesting game. That
They
game
better be
all of a
careful.
sudden looks
Boise
very,
State might mess around and hit them in the mouth.
and that's going to be the old school Pac-12 after dark game this
Yep.
weekend. That's
Yep.
going to be a great game, and I can't wait to watch it.
My top 12 was Georgia, Ohio State, Texas at 3, Alabama 4, Notre Dame 5, Ole Miss 6, Oregon 7, Penn State 8, Michigan 9, Tennessee 10, 11, Miami, and Tulane is 12. Now, the only reason why I have Oregon, usually I kind of wanted to put Oregon over Ole Miss, but again, they didn't really put up any offense. Ole Miss looks good. They shut their team out too. I can't ignore that.
Yeah,
That
I was like 62-0 or something crazy.
it's like a lot of these games. Like I just couldn't ignore the goose egg. I can't and mind you, it's only week 1. You know what I'm saying? And again, Tennessee, same thing. They looked good, but the talent that they played, I felt like I based it off of what other teams played. So
Yep.
Fresno States, Colorado States, those guys, they may not be big teams in the Power 5, but in their realm of football, they are the guys.
Yeah, the Mountain West are the best of the best, right? Colorado State, Fresno State are probably going to be competing for that conference, right?
Right.
So here's the thing. I didn't have Michigan as a top 10 team. I don't think they were impressive at all.
Well, the only reason why I have Michigan at 9 is because Michigan, again, defending national champions, they've got a 16-game streak. The only reason why they're there is because of the fact that they're the national championship and they won the game. Did it look good? No, they did not look good. They didn't look great at all. I don't know what they're going to do against Texas. This is the biggest like question mark that I have is what is Michigan going to do? Are they going to run the ball? They didn't pass the ball down the field
because they can't pass.
Like Alex Orji, he's been there 3 years, and you haven't put him on the field.
Still can't throw a 5-yard slant route. Like,
you gotta walk on. Like, what is going on at the? We talked about this. We talked about this. We talked about the quarterback situation. No, we talked about.
We did our predictions.
We talked about this months ago about the quarterback position and what is going on. Why are they what is their quarterback situation? I don't know. And they had the package. I went and watched it because at first I couldn't. I was doing some work, but I don't understand what they're doing. If they're going to go about this like the Florida Chris Leak, Tim Tebow type situation, they got a long season.
They're dusted, yeah. Here's the thing about Michigan, right? And this is why I don't think they're a top 10 team. I think Will Johnson is a first-round pick.
Absolutely.
That's all they have, right? Everything around them is very, very young.
Their defensive line is impressive
too.
The
defensive line is probably three out of four, probably first-round picks.
Right.
Outside of that, I don't know what they have on defense. And you know what? I'm going to tell you this right now. If Fresno State had a slightly better quarterback, Fresno State beats Michigan last week. They had three wheel routes to the running back that were wide open.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
You think Sarkis is looking at that and saying, Jaden Blue, just catch the ball and we'll dust this team? And here's the thing. If they guard the wheel route, Will Johnson's not guarding the wheel route. They had a slant underneath that was wide. I saw it in just a still image of, so there was a wheel route on the outside, slant coming in, and an in route coming inside into the middle of the field, and then they had a post route where the safety was like not even sure what he was doing. Right, he didn't know whether he should. If he goes and gets the wheel route, the slant's open because they were only playing single high.
Right.
Like those are the types of concepts that Stark is going to throw up next week. And keep in mind, they put up 50 points without throwing the ball deep.
That's true. That is true. Let me ask you.
They're not going to have an answer for this Texas offense, and we'll talk about that in a second. They are not going to have an answer for this Texas offense. But I will say this: of all the teams that played last week, Georgia was the most impressive. Notre Dame, I had at number 4, and the reason why I had Notre Dame at 4,
Notre Dame looked good. Notre Dame looked fantastic.
That defense looks very good. And they went on the road to you can argue whether A&M is the toughest places to play or maybe not. Right?
It's definitely one of them. It is
hard to play there. And they went in there and they made it look easy. Well, there's some missed opportunities, sure.
Yeah.
Did Connor Wedman look like he hadn't played football in 10 years? Sure. Whatever, right? He looked like he never thrown a football in his life. But at the end of the day, that defense for Notre Dame looked very good. And they had to play defense in a very hostile environment at night. That's the piece, right? There's differences to playing these games on the road. There's a difference when you have to play those games at night. And so that's why I think Notre Dame gets a lot of credit from me. So I had them at number 4. Then I had Oregon 5, Alabama 6. Penn State was very impressive too.
Yeah. Penn State looks good.
Their offense looked good. Drew Aller finally is throwing the ball down the field.
Yep.
I only kept them at 8 because I want to see more.
Yes.
West Virginia is good, but Big 12 defenses are not. You're going to get your yards, right?
You're going to be able to put up some points.
Tennessee 9. I think Nico is going to be really good too.
Yes.
And
yes.
Missouri 10. I'm a big fan of Brady Cook and the whole Brady Cook and Luther Burden combination. I'm a huge fan of that. So that's probably just a little homerism on my side. I think Miami at 11. I don't care if it's a rivalry game. Going to the Swamp is hard. And usually those rivalry games, no matter how good or how bad you are really close.
They still put up a fight. Yeah.
They dusted them. And then I have Liberty at 12 because I think Caden Salter and that Liberty team is going to learn from the experiences they had in that bowl game, and I think they're going to be even better.
Wow.
And they looked very good. So we're looking around the country. I think those are the best 12 teams. I think Florida State needs to hang it up on the season. They need to. The biggest thing, and I'm gonna start here. The biggest thing that I'm mad about with this with this Florida State team is the fact that Mike Norvell went and got DJU as his quarterback. And the reason why I'm so not only confused and upset, but it just I felt like Mike Norvell changed his system to fit DJU rather than going and getting another quarterback that fit his system like Jordan Travis did.
You know who I'm calling right now? I want to show you who I'm calling. You ready? I'm gonna zoom in. I'm gonna zoom in on him so you can see him.
You calling Goodwill?
Myron Charles. I'm calling Myron Charles. Myron Charles.
Hey, look. Come on down to Texas, bro.
Come on.
Mike Burkess. What's up, man? How you doing, bro? Tim had him at 7, Oregon at 7, and I had Oregon at 5, but I probably should have dropped them more because they look pitiful. What's up? She got a bunch of yards, bro. Hey, she got a bunch of they just got a bunch of yards. They didn't score nothing. Forrest, Jesus, man. Where do you even start with this team? The offense looks atrocious. Okay, here's the thing. They not only are 0-2, they're 0-2 in the ACC in the first 2 weeks of the season. They're 2 games behind everybody else, and it's only week 3.
Yeah.
Or week 2, right? It's only week 2.
You can't afford to fall behind like that. That's not a situation.
That's crazy,
you still got to play Notre Dame.
You have to play. Here's the thing. You got to play Notre Dame. You still have to play Clemson. You still have to play Miami. Bro, it is.
If they was 1-1,
I was looking at their schedule, dude. There's legit a chance like they only win like 3 or 4 games.
It's possible. It is possible. You can't listen. This is what you can't do. You can't go into a situation where your quarterback. Let's just call a spade, man. DJ is struggling.
He sucks.
He's
not struggling. He sucks.
He is struggling, bro. I don't necessarily know like what it is that he's going through, like in his head, like what I just don't understand. DJ, like the first game, he threw for 97 yards.
Against Georgia Tech.
Against Georgia Tech. And they, mind you, they did not have their. You know what? I chalked it up because I was like, they don't got their wide receiver. Their wide receiver didn't play. Remember, he was exited or something happened to where he couldn't play that game. So I was like, I'm gonna chalk it up to that. But then you went to bed again, and you look worse than you did the first game.
Yeah. Well, actually, I mean, here's the thing about DJU, and I know Mike's got some other stuff here. DJU getting absolutely roasted on X. Sad. Yeah. No, I agree. So, you know what video resurfaced on Twitter today? Speaking of X, Twitter. The recruiting video of Davos Sweeney showing DJU the Clemson Stadium during his recruiting visit. Remember the video where he like shows him Clemson? He's like, "You're gonna be throwing a lot of touchdowns there, my guy."
Yeah.
Oh my god! I was like, "What?" That's pathetic. Here's the thing. DJU was bad at Clemson.
He was okay. Oregon State. He was okay.
Okay. And then he transfers to Florida State. He was a 5-star quarterback. He was the number 3 quarterback in that class.
I thought he was number 2. I thought it was CJ Stroud. No, I thought it was Bryce DJ, then CJ.
Was Bryce. Oh yeah, Bryce DJ. Yeah, Bryce DJ, then Stroud, right? And Bryce and Stroud are in the NFL. They were the number 1 and number 2 pick in the draft a year ago. And DJU is a bust. The dude there's no struggling. He was overrated as a quarterback. He got 5 stars for I don't know what reason. Either he's not picking the schools to be in the right system. He's not looking at the coaches and he's just looking at the names. Like, I don't know what he's doing, but there was a throw that he made in that Boston College game where he's literally standing still. It is a 2-yard out route, and he overthrows the receiver.
Yes.
Do you remember that throw? He's standing still in the pocket, no pressure, and he still overthrew the receiver.
You know what he needs to do?
Confidence is a hell of a drug, dude. His confidence is shot too.
You know what he needs to do? He needs to run.
Retire. He needs to go finish his degree.
He needs to run the ball.
That's all he can do.
He doesn't do it enough.
Because he wants to prove that he's a throwing quarterback. Didn't he come out as a dual threat?
He came out as a dual threat. He's
not even using his skill set.
Run the ball.
Yeah.
He needs to run it. You gain your confidence by running the ball. It keeps defenses honest and makes people really sit back because nobody was scared of what he was doing on the field from a passing standpoint.
At all.
Like he's got 1 touchdown and 1 interception in 2 games. You know who they played this week?
What's his completion percentage?
Oh, his completion percentage was 50%.
58%. That's insane. And he only threw 60 passes.
Do you know who they play this week?
They're on bye this week.
They play.
And then they play the Citadel next week.
They play Memphis on the 14th.
Oh no, but I'm saying, bro, they're only gonna win like 3 or 4 games.
Memphis ain't no joke, bro. We see what Memphis can do.
Yeah, listen, it might not be long before I put Memphis at 12 because that team is really good.
Memphis is no joke, bro.
They're really good. So,
Boston College, listen, I'm gonna give it to Boston College That
I
quarterback
like
that
that quarterback.
Billy O. Listen,
Ryan did his thing.
Billy O has done. I don't like his off. We know what he can do. We know what he can do offensively. He's really, really. He might not be a good NFL.
Because that dude looked like a dumb as a rock in the NFL.
I'm not talking about the NFL. That's the thing we have to negate. What did Billy O do to get to the NFL? He was a stud in
Killed
college.
it. At Penn State. Yep.
Wow.
He was actually really good at Penn State. He was crazy.
He looks good, bro. College is his calling. Listen, what if BC starts running the table and starts doing crazy stuff in the ACC? Now you can. Now listen.
Well, now you got Georgia Tech too.
What you got exactly? What they have, if they build off this win, and they're able to continue to win these games, like the Clemson games, the Florida States, and all that stuff. You can't just walk into Boston College anymore. Remember, prior to Matt Ryan being there, that was just an easy win. You can't do that no more.
So Boston College will be tested next week. Boston College, Missouri is 11:45 next Saturday.
Okay.
In Columbus.
Oh,
or
okay.
In Columbia. In Columbia,
Okay.
Not Columbus. And then they play Michigan. Well, Michigan State sucks. Aiden Charles looked terrible too. So
yeah, he did. He looked real.
But anything else around the country you want to look at?
No, I'm okay. I still feel really good about my bracket and how things are working. Hopefully, Clemson. Hopefully, Clemson cleans it up. Don't necessarily know. I did pick him to win the ACC just based off the schedule, but the way these guys are playing, again, Boston College scares me. Georgia Tech scares me now. They're not putting up. They're not Florida State. They're not pulling those type of numbers, but they are. Yeah. They're not great when it comes to putting up offensive numbers. So that is the thing that has me a little bit nervous. Hopefully, over time, Cade Klubnik. Let me just be complete. Cade Klubnik, DJ, they do not look good. I don't know what Dabo's been doing from a quarterback standpoint, because he was on fire for a while. You get Deshaun Watson, you get
Trevor
Lawrence. Even the kid.
I think he gets these guys thinking it's going to work out, but the problem, maybe some of the problem with Clemson isn't the recruiting; it's Dabo.
I think it is Dabo. I think it's a mixture
because
of both.
They're getting these transfers. Look at how many transfers they could be getting, bro.
They could smoke literally everybody in the ACC if they really just get some transfers.
Yep.
They're in too hot of a bed as far as like where they're located,
recruiting,
who they play. Like you got Georgia right there, Florida's right there, you got Kentucky right there, you got Alabama right there. They're not far away. They can go up northeast. They can get guys from up there. It's too. You can, like, with a team like Clemson and what they've been in the last 10 years, it would be straight up disrespectful to the fan base, to the fan base, to the AD, to other players to not cast that net out there to try to get some of these kids to come to Clemson. It would be it's silly. It's almost silly to say we're gonna do this the old-fashioned way. You got kids that want to play.
Slap in the face. It's almost a slap in the face to the program, right?
It's a slap in the face to the kids that weren't able to go to Clemson because for whatever reason, whether depth on the depth chart, they wouldn't be able to start. They didn't have the grades, but now they have the grades. And now you're sitting here, you have an opportunity to go get these kids, and you refuse to do it. That to me, that's more of a slap in the face. I know there are thousands of kids that want to go and play for Clemson, and you won't give them the opportunity. So they're going to go play somewhere else, and they're going to end up playing against Clemson, and they're going to run roughshod over you. And that's ultimately, if that continues to happen, that's going to cost Dabo his job because he's stubborn. And who else is going to decide, well, we're going to go pick up Dabo Swinney? Nobody's going to want to pick you up because you're not playing the game.
You know who else was stubborn and got fired?
Jimbo.
No, Jimbo was just a moron. He just hit Jimbo. Listen, Jimbo is a career mediocre quarterback. He just hit lightning in a bottle with Jameis Winston. Jimbo sucks. Like he was career mediocrity.
Okay.
Mac Brown. Mac Brown was stubborn before he left. Look at all the guys he could have brought in at quarterback. Andrew Luck, Robert Griffin III, Johnny Manziel. He was just stubborn. Dude, imagine if we had sucked during that year, those years. When it went, man.
We had an Andrew Luck.
Because I don't want to talk about that.
Listen, if we had an Andrew Luck or even an RG3, we'd probably win a national championship.
Probably three or four.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Because you would go from Andrew Luck, RG3 to Johnny Manziel.
Baker Mayfield, he wanted to come to Texas.
You could. There's a laundry list, bro. You know why these guys wanted to come to Texas? Because they were from Texas,
right?
And then they just went and they're like, "No, screw these guys. I'm going to spend my life hating them because they didn't want me."
Right, and that's what happens.
Yeah, but yeah, Florida State's done. I don't know what Mike Norvell.
Did you have them in your playoff quickly? Did you?
Miami, bro. Cam Ward, maybe. Listen, there was. I think I said Cristobal was close, and Cam Ward put them over the top. I'm looking very good in that prediction right now.
Facts. Okay.
All right. I don't want to stay on this topic too long because we've been live for a little bit. And we still haven't even done the preview. Rat poison, Tim. Inject it in me. Give me the Kool-Aid. Give me the poison. Give me all of it. Here's the thing about rat poison. Nick Saban used it as a way to temper his team and whatever. And Sark's kind of doing the same thing. As a Texas fan, we have waited 15 years to be in this type of position again.
Yeah.
Where we can confidently go into a road. We haven't lost a road game in 3 years or 2 years.
Right.
We just went into Alabama and won by double digits.
Yeah.
We've been in some tough road games over the last couple of years. The last road, what do you think the last road game we lost was?
Kansas State?
Oklahoma State, Quinn Ewers' freshman year.
Okay.
And it was bad in that game.
Yeah.
Like abysmal.
Yeah, I remember
right?
that game. I remember that game.
That was the last road game we lost.
Okay. So rat poison. What these guys cannot do is these guys cannot look at the teams of old and say they did it, so we can do it.
Yeah.
They can't use what previous teams did to propel them through Michigan. That is not going to happen. You have to leave your own mark as a 2024 team. You cannot depend on the 2023 team and what the 2023 team did because that 2023 season is gone. This is the 2024 season. You have to make, even the guys that were there in 2023, you have to say, listen, this is 2024. What we did in Alabama was great. We're not playing Alabama right now. We're playing Michigan. And you can't go into the big house and think just because we beat Alabama last year means that we're going to be able to beat Michigan this year just by showing up. It does not. You can't do that. You will put yourself in a situation where you end up getting down big, and then you finally wake up and it's too late and you lose by 3. You can't do that. You have to go in there and say, listen, we beat Alabama, but that was last year. We got these guys next up. Let's finish these guys on and move on to the next opponent. That is what you have to do.
To me, rat poison isn't necessarily about this week more than it is about next week, right?
Right.
I think they're going to beat Michigan, right? I think that's not rat poison. That's like you're just confident in this team, right?
Right.
This team is that good. Next week, what are you going to do when you play ULM, right? When you like last year after the big win against Alabama, they came back to they played against Wyoming, and they looked like they hadn't played football before.
Yeah,
like that is rat poison. You're going to get a big win this week. What are you going to do with it next week after that big win occurs? When
But
you have
that's
to
the
go
thing.
back to playing, are you going to be the team you were last week and take care of your business, or are you going to be what you were last year against Wyoming and pretend like
But that's the
no big deal, right?
that's the
That's
exact thing.
frustrating to me.
That's the exact thing. You can't look to next week. You have to deal with what's in front of you 1 week at a time. If you get caught slipping, looking over, every team should expect to win. That is, if you don't have that mind frame, you don't need to be playing competitive
Yeah.
sports at all. You should
That is just a that's for us fans, right? Like
right.
we know the team is not focused on. They definitely are not focused over ULM over Michigan. Like that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, as a fan, this is how I see it. Is not this week particularly. It's about week, right? Regardless of whether you win or lose, right? Which again, I think they're going to win, but what does next week look like? And that's how I think about poison, where it's like something good happens and you kind of poison yourself and something it turns into something bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I listen, just focus on what's at hand, win your individual battles, and the rest will take care of itself. That's how you prepare. Win your battle. Win your individual battles. If you win your individual battles as a team, you should come out with a W. You should.
Yep.
So
all righty, Tim. That's all I had to say about that.
okay.
Texas goes to the big house. Let's start here. What are your keys to the game?
Jake Powers is the key to the game. He is the key. As a center, going up against a defensive line like that, it is your responsibility to point out blitzes, it's to point out shifts, it's to communicate with your quarterback, to communicate with the rest of the line, to keep these guys at a level. You need every great offensive line that I know has a key guy, the center, your left tackle, and your right tackle. Nothing against the guards. Nothing against the guards. Your center, your left tackle, and your right tackle. Your center is the guy that keeps everything together. Your left tackle is, of course, your main protector. You want that guy to protect your quarterback's blind side. And your right tackle is usually the guy that's going to be the head of the running game. That guy is the most athletic. Usually, your right tackle is usually the most athletic guy on the field. That's why you see guys go, if you see guys swing between right tackle and guard, right tackle and left tackle, if usually they start out on a right tackle position, it's because they're really, really athletic. I think about the great offensive lines that the Cowboys had, with your Nate Newton, not your Nate Newtons, but gosh, I'm drawing a blank on him. Larry Allen, your Larry Allens of the world. He literally played right tackle. He swung over. He played guard. Sometimes he played left tackle. Sometimes he played left guard. I think about Hall of Famer Gene Upshaw. Gene Upshaw could play literally everywhere for that Raiders team. He was one of those guys. Like, you have to have those guys there, and I think they do. I think this is a time where Texas really, their strongest point is going to be their offensive line. Now, I know we talked ad nauseum about the wide receivers and things of that nature, but I think, me personally, I think this is one of three defensive lines that Texas is going to play, and they're going to be really good from end to end, from corner to safety. These guys are like good. This is their strong point of their team. They're going to run the ball. They're going to try to keep that offense on the sideline. You don't have the defensive tackles as you did of yesteryear. So again, you can't depend on what happened in the past to affect your future. You have to be present in the now. Trey Moore It's on you, Anthony Hill. It's on you, Bender. It's on you. Those defensive tackles, it's on you. You know what they're gonna do. You know they want to run the ball. They have not been the greatest when it comes to passing the ball. They don't have super dynamic receivers that I can recall. Again, I don't know that. I could
No, they
probably
don't.
name
They don't have.
everybody on the offensive line, or I could probably name all of the offensive firepower last year. I can't say that this year. I cannot say that.
How many rushing yards do you think they had last week? Without looking, like how many how many of those rushing yards were Donovan Edwards?
I don't think Edwards had a good game last week. Sorry.
Correct.
I want to say they probably got over 100 yards. I don't think Donovan Edwards got over 100 yards. I want to say collectively they may have gotten over 100 yards.
Yep. So Khalil Mullings got 92 yards on 13 carries, 14 carries.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Carries. That's 6 yards to carry. That's actually really good.
Yeah.
Donovan Edwards, 11 carries, 27 yards.
Ooh.
Donovan Edwards is not their bell cow. He's still not there, and he was never intended to be their bell cow.
So why do they push Donovan Edwards as this all?
Because he's a home run hitter. He's a home run hitter. Donovan Edwards is a smaller Derrick Henry to me.
Okay.
He's gonna bust a couple.
Okay.
And I think if Michigan gets 150 yards rushing, that doesn't automatically mean that they're gonna win. And because if they're not scoring off those 150 yards, they're not going to score at all. They're not going to score very many points in this game.
Okay.
And I think the key is going to be this Texas front seven pass. I'm going to be honest with you, and I think Stark said it this week. They're going to have to sell out to stop the run, but they can't do it at the expense of forgetting about the explosive plays. Because just because they don't have like the name brand, like Colston Loveland, he is a guy that can get open and have explosive plays.
Right.
They might not have like the other guy, the wide receivers that can like get those explosive plays, but don't want to give them the opportunity to be able to establish themselves to get those plays. I think Colston Loveland's going to be really big in the short game. He might get a lot of catches, which is going to equalize to a lot of yards. Because he's their only legitimate passing threat.
Yeah.
So I think the key here is to sell it to stop the run, but not so much. Like we're not hitting, we're not hitting right stick on the controller and committing every play. That's not what I'm saying that we should do, because if we do that, we will get absolutely dusted.
Yes. Yeah.
But that front seven is on first and second down is going to be huge. Keeping them in third and long, because I'm going to be honest with you, I don't care who their quarterback is. Neither quarterback can throw a lick. And I'm not afraid of either quarterback.
I listen. I agree with you. There's something about it's just very odd to me. Normally, that is a thing that I would say is normally a strength for Michigan. Having a quarterback that can facilitate the ball, regardless if they have a playmaker or not on the outside. It's normally they have it down on who's going to be their quarterback, and the fact that they don't have that right now is kind of nuts. It's like, and that's what that's where I'm like, okay, well, where's the focal point? Like, and then you have to kind of break that stuff down by position. You have to, because at that point, like, if you don't, we know they're going to try to run the ball. We know that. But outside of that, what else are they going to do?
Here's the thing. And this is probably where my hot take starts.
Right.
This is not Jim Harbaugh's Michigan anymore.
No, it's clearly not. No.
Right? Sharon Moore is taking this team in a different direction. You know why he's doing that? Because he wants to make a name for himself. Sharon Moore is going to end up being the Charlie Strong of this team. He's going to get fired in a couple of years. He's not going to be able to build this team, Tim Wayne. I'm sorry. He's not going to be able to recruit at the same level. He's not going to be able to coach this team at the same level. This is not like we've got to look. I understand, and Sark just kind of came out and said it on Monday. They've won 23 of the last 25. They haven't lost at home in blah, blah, blah. The 23 game, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, they
that
got
was from Harbaugh's Michigan that accomplished those stats, not Sharon Moore's Michigan. And we've got to stop comparing the two because it is not the same team. This team is not that good. They might end up losing. I think this team's going to lose 4 games this year because they've got a tough schedule, Tim. And
yeah, they do.
And if you're going to tell me, Michigan, we do not know. If you tell me that Davis Warren, walk-on Warren, is coming in this week and going to look like Peyton Manning, you are smoking crack. Like, that is literally what I'm telling you right now. This game may end up being a 10-point game, but if if Texas blows out Michigan, I would not be surprised one bit. Because this Michigan team is not that good. And that defense, if the offense continues to score for Texas, that defense is going to get worn out because that offense is not going to be able to score against this defense consistently. And I think eventually the camel's back is going to get broken this week.
I completely understand where you're coming from. Listen, like you said, Loveland is seems to be the guy, right? He seems to be the guy. He's no Brock Bowers, but we know he's going to get a lot of targets. I don't know how they plan on utilizing him, if they plan on splitting him out wide. I don't know if they're going to, again, I really feel that they're going to do more. They're going to try to establish a run because they want to see Texas has what it takes to stop the run. I think if Texas is able to stop the run, then you look at a situation where you're forcing these guys to pass. They're not really good at passing. They weren't really good against Fresno. It didn't look great. It did not look hot at all.
At all.
One of the key things that I want to talk about, and then we can talk about scores.
Yep.
Who is going to guard all of these wide receivers?
Not just wide receivers, Tim. You have 6 wide receivers. You have 3 tight ends. You have 3 running backs. And the only thing I keep hearing, Will Johnson's a first-round pick. So you're telling me Will Johnson is guarding 11 people on this offense?
That's a very good point. People talk about him a lot, and I'm not knocking him.
I think he's great. I think Will Johnson.
Listen,
but he's not guarding 11 people.
I'm a Cowboys fan. If we could find some way to get him, I'm cool. I'm cool. Listen, I don't know. This is just how I would attack it. This is just me. If I was Sark, and this is what I feel like Sark is going to do. Sark should line up 5 wide. The first.
Oh yeah.
They run on that field. I'm running 5 wide. You finna get worked. It's gonna be a long day.
They don't guard 5 wide in the Big Ten. They don't know how.
I'm going 5 wide. I'm going to throw it around. I'm going to sling it. I'm running screens. I'm running fast tempo. I'm killing you. I'm going to take the entire, if I can take the entire big house out of it and make them non-effective, that's what I'm trying to
do. Do you remember King, the really good DB out of Penn State? He ended up getting drafted. Xavier Worthy just scored again, by the way. He basically the same situation as Will Johnson is right now, right? He was coming into his last year at Penn State. He was a first-round pick. Penn State no longer had a consistent pass rush. Caleb King dropped to a 4th-round pick last year.
Yikes.
I don't care if he's a shutdown corner. He's not blocking 11 people. I'm sorry.
You can't block up 11 people. It's just
not possible. And here's the thing. They're gonna come out and they're gonna come out. I think 5 wide's a great way to come out. You know what I would do personally? Remember the first play of the Texas OU game, Xavier Worthy's freshman year?
Yeah, they threw a screen.
Run a concept. Run an RPO with Isaiah Bond and just get him out in space and see what they can do.
man, any one of those receivers can house it. We've seen.
And if they can't house it, you got your answer. If they can't stop
any,
it, if they get 20 yards, you've got your answer for the game.
any one of those guys can look like Isaiah Bond, Niblett,
Jaden Blue, yeah.
Blue, any of those guys, if you got them in the open space, and this is one thing that I love Sark for is he said, I need speed to compete in the SEC. And that's what he went and got. He went and got a mixture of smaller guys that are shiftier. He went and got a big guy. He went and got two big guys and even picked up a tight end that can move around. He's Amari Black he's gonna be in the mix somewhere. Like
wasn't even used, yeah.
You got so much firepower.
Juan Davis. Gunnar Helm only had 2 catches.
Gunnar Helm, the catch he got, he looked great. The catch he got,
that catch was like a 30-yard catch that set up a touchdown.
Scored. Yeah, he almost scored. So, locking this down, who do you have winning, and what is your score?
I have Texas winning 30-20. I think it's going to be like 30-13 in Michigan. It's like a bogus touchdown late. I think Quinn Ewers. I think this is going to be Quinn Ewers' like coming out party to the entire nation, similar to what he did in Alabama.
Yeah,
last year, he's going to do the same thing this week, and I think he's going to have like 3 touchdowns, and one of those is going to be a deep shot to somebody.
Okay, I also have Texas winning. I have Texas winning 31-24. The reason why I have 31-24 is I do have them scoring relatively late, Michigan, trying to make a comeback. But I think, again, this is a situation where last year and the years prior, I would want Texas to lean on these guys. But clearly, these guys, their strongest focal point is their defensive line. We don't necessarily know. We know that they have a stud at defensive back, but they're not all studs. So spread these guys out, make them go to work, tire them out, tempo. Tire these guys out, and then maybe later then you start sprinkling in some RPOs, some more screen passes, screens, things like that. But for the most part, if I were to attack this Michigan team, I want to spread them out. I want to spread them out as far as possible. I have receivers from end to end, and I would try my best to run all types of concept routes and option routes and things to keep these guys on their toes. So
I would even go as far as put your tight end out there as a wide receiver too, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Don't let them get comfortable inside, and chip them like little chip blocks, little check blocks. Like give obviously you want to give Quinn a little check down if you need to. I think they run a lot of man concepts because Will Johnson was also very aggressive last week.
Yeah.
If he gets very aggressive this week, he's going to get dusted. And he's going to look stupid on national TV. Like some of those things that he tried to do last week against mediocre receivers where he like tried to jump the ball, jump the routes, and the receivers like dropped them. Texas isn't dropping those.
Yeah.
They're not.
Yeah.
If you try to jump a route this week and you miss, you're going to get dusted.
Yeah, for sure.
It's that simple.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that 1,000%. So yeah, I have Texas winning just based on the sheer amount of talent on the offensive side of the ball.
Yep.
On the defense, I think that they are able. Again, I don't see any playmakers on the Michigan side. And Michigan fans, if you're out there, if you're listening, please let me know who you feel that is a playmaker. Just from this team to last year's team, this team looks completely different. I don't feel confident in their quarterback situation at all. There's packages where Alex Orji is going to be in the game. We know this for sure. They've been talking about it for majority of the week. I don't feel that they're confident in quarterback, and that baffles me. In Big Ten football, where you can almost name every quarterback in the Big Ten except for Michigan.
Yeah.
Every
man. Well, this is the thing about Big Ten football. Texas, you know what's gonna I just thought about this. Texas is a preview of what Michigan's going to see all year this year.
Oh yeah, absolutely. When they
And
go play,
if they're not, don't they play Oregon? They're going to spread them out.
they play USC.
Spread them out.
They
UCLA,
play
probably
UCLA.
some variation of spreading them out, right?
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
they play all four of those teams.
Mm-hmm. And then they
They
still
play
got to
Washington.
go.
Washington's going to spread you out.
Right.
Oregon's going to spread you out. Okay, they only play and USC is going to spread you out. And
Yep.
Texas. That's what they're playing this year.
Yep.
And listen, I'm telling you, and I'm going to say this again. I get all the statistics. I get like they haven't won, they haven't lost in the big house, and however many centuries it's been. Like I don't care. This is not Jim Harbaugh. I'm not afraid of this team. This is why I'm telling Texas fans to be confident. If Jim Harbaugh was still coaching this team, I might be a little concerned. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Because I feel like Jim
Harbaugh is not coaching this team, and he's not like flying to Michigan on Saturday to coach this game.
Yeah.
So I have zero concern about this game.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I'm sorry, that's not rat poison. I'm not smoking the Kool-Aid. I have that much confidence in Steve Sarkisian at this point.
Yeah, Steve Sarkisian. Year what? 3, 4, 3? Is it 3 or 4?
Just year 4, yeah.
Year 4 with Quinn year 3. Having that team, having those guys, them being established at the offensive line, again, having that much wide receivers, again, they're relatively young at wide receiver, but still having those guys, we can continue to name guys: Jonte Cook, Neblett, Wingo, Bond. Like it's so many. So many different guys. I think we're going to see a lot of packages. I think we're going to see a lot of substitutions where they're going to keep fresh bodies and fresh receivers on the field.
Shuffling people in and out.
Yeah. And they're just going to go in as groups and they're just going to keep going. And that's what I think should happen. And if Michigan can't keep up, that's going to be a big problem because, again, Oregon does the same stuff. USC looks like a completely different team from last year.
And their defense looks better.
Their defense.
Shout out to Lincoln Riley. I bet you told OU fans were pissed. They're like, wait, what?
That defense looked stellar.
Look what happens when you fire your best friend as your coach.
So you got to do it. I mean, sometimes you got to do it. You got to do it to save your job. That's what you got to do. So
you hired his football coach, or you hired a football coach.
Yeah, coach. Coach. Yeah, Harish. That's it, man. That's all I got. You got anything else?
That was a good show. We had a lot to do. Let's get out of here. But before we do, where can the people find you?
You can find me at Tim Wayne on X. You can also find me on the LH Fan Battle Twitter. Again, I'm not the one that talks the much crazy stuff. I may throw a little jab here and there, but I'm not the guy doing the main trash talking. That's going to be my guy to my right or left. I can't even tell right now. I'm so out of it. But, listen, man, I'm excited about Saturday's game. It's an early kickoff. I really hate that this is not a night game. I really wish that this was a night game. I hate the fact that this is going to be a big noon kickoff situation. I feel like if this was at home, if this was at Texas, this would be automatically a night game. And
the SEC would have made sure of it.
The SEC would have made sure of it.
Keep in mind, we play them here. They're not coming back to Austin for 2 years because they'll play here. We'll play there this year.
State up next, right? Ohio State
the next 2 years, and then they'll be back down here. They don't come back down here until 2027.
Okay. So, in Miami in there too? Isn't it Ohio State and Miami?
I think Miami's after the Michigan comes back.
Okay.
But yeah, they will not come down here until 2027. So, and then next year, bro, do you know what I found out next year? We start game 1 at the shoe. Next year.
I don't like that.
Ain't no warm up, bro. Game 1, Arch Manning's first game is going to be at the shoe.
That's crazy.
Probably Julian Lewis or somebody crazy like that. That's going to be nuts.
That's going to be a crazy game, man.
But y'all can find me at the Uncle Gandhi, also on LH Fan Battle. Like I said, 1, 10, 100, 10,000, 100,000. I don't care. If you say something stupid, I will come cook you. So, anyway, between now and then, my name's Harish. That's my guy, Tim Wayne. We out of here. Peace.
Kill Gabriel.
Go home, touchdown like an end zone.